Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and this is episode 4 of A Man Goes to a Fishing Flea Market. We're looking for the punchline, I guess. That man was me. I was a vendor at 2 fishing flea markets recently, and while I mostly sold equipment there, there was a time to purchase as well. And I found a couple of reels that didn't wind up being very expensive, but they did wind up being great, either in terms of memories. I think in episode 3 I showed you a Senator reel that I learned to cast with back in the 1950s. And, well, this is a couple more that I found that I thought would be great subjects of videos. And, well, we'll show you what I found, because a man went to a flea market and he bought some fishing stuff. Well, this almost looks like what we had last week or 2 weeks ago when Scott went to a flea market out in the West Coast and found himself a Luxor salmon murre. This one, however, is the crack version of that. And there was a lawsuit, and I know Chris, who watches the videos, is quite an expert on what happened between Luxor and crack. And crack followed Luxor. I guess there was a lawsuit, and he was the one that had the license. Here's his license P. Mulbor E, I guess. And, well, he built the same reel, essentially, only it's now labeled crack. This has a crazy large bail, and this one's working beautifully. So you saw me overhaul the Luxor, identical reel, different name on the side plate. Well, this is a story behind the reels that I found here. There was a fellow, Chris, who was selling at the second flea market out on Long Island. Thank you, Chris. He had a bunch of reels. Most of them were found at garage sales. Most of them were relatively inexpensive. He was flipping them. He's not a reel service person, but he did have a table full of reels that were in various stages of operation. This one happened to be beautiful. It was a little bit more pricey than some of the ones that weren't working. I believe Trish was with him, and they were selling a lot of things. They had some nice modern reels. They had a lot of plugs, some fishing tackle, but it looked like what you would normally find at a fishing flea market, or at least what you would hope you would find at a fishing flea market. And that's used equipment that was probably near the end of its life, or at least it was at the end of being used by the particular owners, and they were just looking to convert that to some dollars and cents, maybe buy a more modern reel, or maybe just get rid of the excess tackle that they had. A lot of these flea markets have commercial vendors in it. Sometimes you'll find folks that are they own bait and tackle shops, and they just sell at the flea markets to get a little extra revenue. Some of them, well, it's more like the traditional flea market. You'll find things like, well, attire. You'll find hooded sweatshirts and t-shirts, all of them with various fishing slogans on it and the like. And sometimes you'll find a lot of new stuff, right? New lures and the like from folks that have purchased them in bulk and are trying to sell them as their way to make a couple of dollars as well. In this case, Chris looked like these were the findings from the garage sales that he wasn't interested in keeping, and he put them out there so that other folks can enjoy them, or the folks that work on the reels can work on them and put them back to good use. And this one was just one of the nice ones that I found there. So let's take a look at them. These are kind of curious. This one is a Martin Britain 400. This is a French-made reel. It was on par with the Mitchells, about the same time and era, about the same size as the Mitchell 300. It's a beautiful reel. And you know that this one's been around a while and sitting, because that's the remnants of a rubber band on there that has melted. So I'm not quite sure how long it's been. But this is one of those examples where I always tell folks, if you buy a reel at a flea market or a garage sale or off of eBay or whatever, and it has line on there, don't trust your judgment to say, oh, the line is good, let's go take it fishing. This line might have been on there 20 years, and monofilament gets brittle. It loses its flexibility and its ability to expand and contract. And well, the last thing you want to do is say, you know what, this reel feels pretty good. Let me just go put it on a pole, put a lure on it and give it a throw, connect with a fish and have it snap off because of bad line. So just a word to all, if you are in the process of taking and fishing with a reel that you just purchased and it has line on it, regardless of what the owner has told you, by all means, please change that line. Well, here's one that's a parts reel, but for a couple of bucks I couldn't say no to it. This is the Zebco Cardinal 6. Now, a lot of us know that Abu made the Cardinal reel, and when it came to distribution, Abu couldn't use Garcia as a distributor in the United States. That's because Garcia had a priority or whatever the right word is, agreement with Mitchell that they would only distribute the Mitchell reels. Well, what happened was they needed a distributor in the U.S. and they settled on Zebco. So you have a Zebco Cardinal here, where in other places you'll have an Abu Garcia Cardinal or whatever. And in fact, here's an example of the Abu Cardinal 6X, and this one's carrying the Abu brand. Well, I didn't get that one at the flea market. Here's why it's a parts reel. There is a drag adjuster button below that's missing, and we have the screw for that button has snapped off in the channel. Not a bad idea. I'll keep this one for parts, or maybe I'll even find somebody who's looking for this as a parts reel, because one of the things that always goes bad with these darn spools snap in half. And well, when they snap in half, you're pretty much done with them. The other thing that goes terribly wrong with these, there's a little oscillation block below here on the main axle shaft that almost invariably seems to shatter. So I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I will. All right, here we go. These are fun. How can I say no to these reels? They were not expensively priced. They need work. This one is the Abu, not the Abu, this is the Thomann record. And I was going to say Abu because, well, they were made in Sweden, and I believe Sweden made them. Very early and almost identical drag system to what you find on rear drag fishing reels today. There's a stack of about 3 or 4 or 5 washers in here. This one's the Thomann Record 400. It was available before there were zip codes, because I found the ad for this. So zip codes, I think, came into being in 1963 or 4. So this one was made before then. And if you can believe this, this is the 400 series of the reel. In and around 1960, this reel was selling for $38. $38 was probably close to a week's pay at $1.25 an hour. So not an inexpensive reel at all. Well, look what else we found here. Now this one's unusual because this one says Fairchild in the USA. But then on this side it says made in Sweden. This one, well, this one's a Fuhrer Brothers out of North White Plains, New York, made in the USA, and well, it's the same reel, bigger. So I forget what the name of this one is. This one might be Mariner. This is the 400, so this one might be 400N. Yeah, this one's the 400N. So this one, well, it has a slightly broken reel foot, and guess what? It's grease choked. You can, again, well, I can't even turn this one. Grease choked. We're going to take this one apart. We're certainly going to do videos on it, if nothing else, why it failed. And then I got one more here. This one's always fun, and again, these are almost the same reels, if you will. You can see the difference on this one is it does not have a rear drag. This one has a drag that's operated here on a slide bar, and this one is Staro, S-T-A-R-O, and it says patented in most countries, made in Switzerland. It actually says Swiss made on it. This one was given to me. The reason it was given to me is this rotor came off of the housing, and the fellow didn't know how to put it back on. This will remove the rotor if you pull it all the way over. And, well, I figured out how to put it back on. Very interesting bail trip on this one. If you notice, the spool has the rise or the ramp on it. And, well, you'll see the lever is over here, right here. And as that comes around, it's going to bump the ramp on the spool. And that's going to trip the bail. Well, we're not done yet. We found a couple of others. The next one up is actually an unknown name. I can't find anything on here that's an indication of it. But I did a Surfcaster reel for Scott. It was in the 1930s. This one has every indication that it is in the 1930s. And it's telling me it needs greases and oils. That's all that's wrong with that reel. And a couple of bait casters. So we've got the Fluger Skill Cast. I just did a video previewing some of those. When you're buying these at flea markets, make sure that you have the side caps that go along with these reels. That's the Fluger Skill Cast. Usually you can find the name on this one. It's beautiful engraved German silver. Here it is. It's the Fluger Summit. And again, when I'm buying these at a flea market, I want to check to make sure that it's working. If not, I'm going to call it a parts reel. We're here, the worm gear is turning, but the pawl is not turning. That may be dirt, because every now and then it seems to grab. Hopefully we can clean that one up and make that go well. Another one here then. This one is also a German silvered one. So these reels are probably from the 1940s or 50s. This one again is a skill cast like the other one. Turns free and easy. Needs a lot of grease and oil and cleaning, but otherwise it'll be in good condition. I believe this is also a skill cast. This is a skill cast. The knobs are gone on this one. Maybe I can find a replacement handle. Otherwise the reel is working nice as well. So I think it was a lot of skill casts. Yeah, and this one is the Summit again. So this is your Fluger Summit. You can generally tell a Fluger reel. They usually have these little cap buttons in them that have the insert. I think that's garnet. And, well, the clicker works. This one's got the old Dacron line on it, and it's working. So I'm looking forward to reconditioning all of these. If I do have a soft spot in my heart, it is for these older reels. And, well, I'm going to see if I can't give these a second chance. Well, a man went to a flea market, and what did he find? Well, I think he found quite a bit of stuff. I certainly didn't spend $100 on this lot. And I'll have to add it up one of these days to figure out exactly what I did spend. But I think there's value in that, and I can't wait to do some of these over the winter as the reel repair and service from my customers slows down a little bit. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to take a moment to thank our first responders and essential personnel and everybody who works to keep us safe day in and day out. And to everyone, I want to encourage you, take advantage of garage sales, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and other sources where you can find reels to learn more about. I'm looking forward to learning about these, the rear drag setups in these, the mechanicals behind them, and in some cases, a beautiful reel other than that chipped reel foot, but it's frozen. So I want to find out what caused that and why that reel failed. Take the time, spend some money, use it as a tuition, the cost of learning, and I think you'll be surprised at how you can grow your skills in determining what's a good reel to buy, like this Britain, and, well, what reels to avoid, because, well, you just can't work on them. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I wish everybody a great day. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.